Today we're going to learn how to Instagram. It's really not that hard, but it can seem a little bit intimidating. So first, let's start with an icebreaker. I'll introduce myself. So I'm Yasmin. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia, and I own 2 accounts, and I also manage the CCL Virginia account. I also own a personal account, just for friends and family, and I also have an art one. I went from less than 100 followers to almost 1,000 in less than 2 months using basically everything that I put in this slideshow. So it really does work, you know? So hopefully it'll help you guys too, whether you're using this for activism, personal use, anything you want. So I guess, does anyone want to introduce themselves? What's your name, where are you from, and why are you interested in learning about Instagram? Why did you join?
Well, I'm Greg Haugen. I'm from Lynchburg. I'm the chapter leader here of CCL. I've heard of Instagram, but I've never used it. I have no idea what it does. I'm probably by a wide margin the oldest one on this call. I see we've got at least 2 others from my chapter. Steve Selby just joined us, and Tony's trying to get his picture cleaned up. But basically, I'm willing to learn what it's all about. I tend to not use any social media, so it'll be interesting.
That's great. I'm glad that you're here. I'm really happy that we've got people from all over Virginia. Does anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I'm Steve Selby, and I did set up an Instagram account. We had a little lesson on it, I think, at the Virginia State meeting, and I think I used it for a little bit, and now I've changed phones and forgotten about it. So I'm just gonna see if I can figure out what my login was and all that. So okay, and yeah. I think it'll be good to use for CCL.
Yeah, social media is really important nowadays, especially since we're all at home and we can't really do much else. So, does anyone else want to share?
Well, I'm Catherine, also from Lynchburg, Virginia.
Hi, Yasmin. This is Michael Duvall. I'm in Roanoke, Virginia. Our chapter does have a Instagram account. It's simply CCL Roanoke.
Oh, that's great.
Hi, Yasmin. I'm Monica in Richmond, and I'm one of the co-leaders of the Richmond chapter. And we have a Instagram account that we haven't really used, and I have a personal account I've barely used. So I really am hoping your talk tonight will help me feel more comfortable with it.
Yeah, hopefully I will. Yeah. If you guys want to, I guess, drop your official CCL accounts in the chat, that would be great, so that we can all support each other. Also, if you guys have any questions, you can also drop them in the chat as I go along. So, yeah. I guess we should start. So first we got to figure out, what is Instagram? It is a social media site. Wow. If you use Facebook, it's quite similar. You can post photos and stories, you can message people, and then you can follow your friends and your favorite creators. But the big difference is that Instagram has a lot more young users than Facebook. But there's still many users of all backgrounds, ages, locations. You really want to use Instagram no matter what demographic you're a part of, because as we were talking about earlier, Instagram is really the way to go. Anything social media, especially when we can't really do much else, we can't congregate together, This is really one of the biggest ways that people are reaching out to each other. So here's some stats. You know, 1 billion people, 1 billion people use Instagram every month. So that's active accounts. It's the second most downloaded free app. It's just behind YouTube, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure all of us use YouTube. And there are 200 million users that visit at least one business site daily. So, you know, if you guys are also, you know, small business owners or you're thinking of owning a business, Instagram is also the way to go for that. It's really versatile. Basically, any community is welcome, especially activists like us. So we got an overview. So today we're going to learn how to create an account, how to create posts and stories, how to use hashtags, because those are really important, and then strategies for gaining followers and creating content effectively. And that's basically going to teach us all about the basics. So number one, you got to create an account to use Instagram. It's pretty much a given. So you can use Instagram either on your computer or on your mobile device. I prefer using my mobile device because you can't message or share stories on a computer, and it's not as user-friendly on like a laptop, for instance, but whatever you want to do, you know? So when you open the app, this screen will show you what to do basically when you want to sign up. So you just enter in your info and they'll guide you through creating an account and navigating the app. So you just put in like your number, your full name. You don't have to put your full name. You can put a fake name if you want. And then a username you want, and of course a password. And write it down just in case. So for your account details, you want a simple and unique username. I have CCL as an example because it's a really good example. You know, simple, it's nice, they use a lot of features. You also want a pleasing profile picture, you know, something that looks nice in a circle, and then a bio with some keywords. The bio is all those words. I don't know if you can see my mouse, so I'm going to use a pointer, but all those words, that's what a bio is. You want to make your account reflect what you want it to look like, not what Instagram gives you as a default. What the Instagram default is, it's basically no bio, no profile picture. You just have a silhouette of like a basic face. Whether you're using it for personal reasons, to become an activist, to own a business, you know, whatever you're gonna do, people really appreciate it if you make it a bit more personalized, you know. Overall, account should be recognizable, interactive, and unique so that people actually know who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. So to go into a bit more detail, for your bio, you want to use keywords, hashtags, and a website link. So here's our bio. You can see that there are a lot of keywords such as nonpartisan, nonprofit. Those are great. That'll help people to figure out what CCL is really about. You can also put in a hashtag. They put in grassroots climate. So that's really great so that people obviously can find your account. And it also shows new people what CCL is really about or what your account is really about. You also want to put in a website link, especially if you're going to be an activist, business owner, or if you're managing a CCL account. Here, CCL, put the CCL website link. You only get one link, that is it. So you want to make it count. There are also profile pictures, and this is where things get a bit more important because it seems really simple, but a lot of people mess up on this. When you make your profile picture, it can be your face, a logo, your dog, your fish, whatever you want, but it has to be recognizable and unique. A lot of people kind of don't really do well on this. I don't know why, but you know, they'll just stick with the silhouette photo, or they just put something that's like random. And especially if you want to make your account public, you want to make sure that you put something recognizable, unique, memorable, all of that. Then you have your username. The username up here is Citizens Climate. It's simple, it's memorable. You can easily search it up. Now you want yours to be your name or your business or something similar. Now, if the exact name of whatever you're trying to look for isn't available, you can easily add a dot or an underscore and you'll be good to go. The reason that it has to be simple is because some people will put a lot of numbers behind it or will make it really complicated. But when you want to interact with other people, it's a lot easier for them to recognize who you are if it's something simple, because something simple is going to automatically be more recognizable. Now, you also want your feed to look nice. Post often. Please post often if you want to be an active account, and make it cohesive. Down here, you can see your feed. So we're just going to move to the next slide. When you open up a page, you can scroll down to see all their photos. So these are some examples of feeds. If you were on Instagram, you could click on any one of these. So these aren't climate related, but they do serve as great examples of how to keep your feed cohesive and attractive, which will really help you gain an audience because Instagram really is about the photos. Now, you don't need a fancy camera. You can just take a photo using your phone, but you want to make sure that your feed or the bunch of photos that you post look nice together. They can look nice apart, but if they're all different, they're not really going to look nice when they're in this mosaic-ish form. So as you can see, similar concepts, similar color schemes, similar topic. Those are the main things that you want to make sure that you're doing basically everything you post. Now, you're really going to have fun if you do an aesthetic or a topic that you love, so just keep that in mind. If you're not really happy with what you're doing, maybe you kind of want to switch what you're really focusing on. So before we move on, do we have any questions? I don't know if I can see the chat or not. So
I can manage the chat. Let me see.
thank you.
So Betsy asked, Yasmin, what is the feed? Can you explain more, please?
Yes, I can do that. So this here, you can see my laser pointer, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So here we have Citizens Climate. When you go and search up someone's account, you can click on it and this is what you'll see. So down here, this is what all the photos are. All your photos together are going to create a feed. And so here's more examples of a feed, except I took out the top obviously because I wanted to share more of the photos. So if you click on any one of these photos, it'll show you more about that. It'll show you the caption and everything if anyone's tagged. But your feed is basically all of your photos together in squares. That's it. So does that answer the question?
So Yasmin, I managed to log on to my account that I created back when we had the Virginia State meeting. And
That's great.
I'm looking at it on my computer and I don't see that kind of mosaic. I just have a kind of continuous stream of pictures, just like on Facebook, that it's all the pictures my wife has posted on her account.
Well, I'm glad that you can access it. So if you click on someone's username, so right now you're probably in the home page.
Right.
I don't know
right.
exactly what it looks like.
Okay, I see. When I click on it, I get the mosaic of my wife's pictures. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
And Betsy says thank you for answering her question. And Carla has a question about how do you post photos from your gallery and photos from other Instagram accounts?
Oh, we're gonna get to that soon. Don't worry. Yeah.
Great.
That will be explained. Okay, so I'm gonna move on if we don't have any other questions to creating stories. Stories can seem intimidating. There's definitely a bit of a learning curve, but once you've got it down, it's really, really fun. So, stories are posts that users create that only show up for 24 hours. Now, if you use Facebook, YouTube, I don't know if any of you use Snapchat, you'll see that it's basically the same feature, but it's a lot more laid back than your average picture post. You can share other people's posts, show casual pictures of like food, for example. That's what a lot of people use it for. You can promote your content, share your feelings, and much more. You can basically do whatever you want. And you access it by going to the home page, see right here, and then at the top, you'll see profile picture, and if it has that rainbow ring that you can see here, that'll mean, boom, there's a story that you can check out. And if the CCL Virginia account was following more accounts that also had stories, there would be more profile pictures. That's it. So, yeah. So to create a story, you can either click on the camera icon in the very top left, or you can swipe right, whatever you choose. And then you can either take a photo or choose one from your camera roll. This isn't my cat, by the way. I found it online, but it's a cute example. So once you figure that out, you can make it fun. There are a lot of features that you can add, and I'm just going to talk through them really quickly with the laser pointer. So first, you can add text with this icon. You can draw with this icon, and then you can use something really cool. This icon holds your GIFs and also engaging quizzes and polls, questionnaires, etc. Here you can put on filters. And then here is where you can save any edited photos if you don't want to post them on your story just yet. There are a lot of different things you can add on your stories, and it'll definitely make yours more unique. All of these will make your stories more engaging and memorable for your audience, because the more personality that you show via your stories, the more likely people are to remember and recognize your account. And people are going to like your account more if you make it more personalized. You add some zing, some zang. So for some engagement, so here, these three, we just went up to this icon and we picked, some engagement polls, countdowns that we can use. So these are story features to make your account stand out, or they can also bring attention to upcoming events. So up here, this is like a questionnaire where people can type in answers. So the question that we asked here, and we didn't post this, this was just an example, but you can ask, what are your favorite eco-friendly brands? Or how have you been doing? Just basic short questions like that will receive short answers. You can do polls like, will you be joining us for our workshop? Yes, no. Or you could put, yes, I'm gonna sign up right now. And then at the bottom, we have a countdown for the Instagram training. Obviously, you're in it right now. But yeah, all of these will help you to promote your content, or for you to just engage more with your followers, because engagement is essential. So yes, this is a great example of some stories that I found. When you go to create a story, Instagram will basically walk you through all the tools that you can use to your advantage. So if it seems confusing at first, don't worry. It was confusing for me at first too. I found that most climate advocacy accounts tend to share other posts. So I found the page ACE. It stands for Alliance Climate Education. I'm not a part of it. This isn't an ad. I just thought that they had really good example of stories. So this is a really good example of how to promote any content. So basically, your stories, you can add multiple photos to your stories. And so basically, when you click on their profile picture, first you would be sent to this one, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then you can just click through them. So first they have an apply now. Deadline is July 20th. And then they have swipe up to the website. You can only add links once you've reached 10,000 followers for your stories. So I don't really know how to do that yet because I don't have 10,000 followers on any accounts. But that's a neat thing, you know. Then on the second one, they have all of the states that you can apply for the fellowship in. Then they use the countdown. Yes, this is one of the features that we talked about. So yeah, this is a great way to entice your audience to sign up now, apply now, you know? And then on the last page, you can see not only have they shared their own post, but they've also included some gifts. They've included racial justice, our voice, our future, apply now, all that stuff. So I thought that this was a really great example because not only does it look good, it all looks cohesive, but they also used some really cool features that really do help in promoting content. This was really confusing for me when I first started, so there's probably a lot of questions. Should we pause for those?
Yes, so Carla had a question that I'm sure others are probably wondering too. Could you go back and show, like, how do you get to the stories again, and where's the option to create the stories again?
So here you would be on your home page, and so then up here there's going to be like a list of profile pictures. If you don't follow anyone or if no one has uploaded any stories, then there isn't going to be that area. This is all going to be blank. But if there is an icon, then you can click on the icon and then it'll show you anyone who's posted a story, and it'll just show you automatically. Now up here, if you're following the laser, here is where you can click to create your own story. It's a little camera icon in the corner. And so once you click here, you will be brought to this page. And then from here, you can either take a photo or you can swipe up to go to your camera roll. And then from there, once you've picked a photo or taken a photo, you can go and edit it, like in here, editing a photo. And then you can share it to your story or send it to someone, depending on what you want to do. Does that answer it?
Great, thank you.
Promise me, I mean, not promise me, I promise you that Instagram will show you how to navigate once you create an account. I believe they still do this, but it'll show you, hey, this is your story. This is how you get in there. This is what all of these are used for. So if you just created an account right now, or you're just going to, it'll help you navigate through that.
Great, thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I think we're good.
Okay. Now we're going to figure out how to create posts. So I forgot who asked how to create posts, but we're about to figure out how. So creating posts is actually very simple. So posts, they're permanent pictures that show up on your feed in that mosaic form. They're very similar to how you would post on Facebook or Twitter. Those are the only two other social media sites that I know of that have those permanent photo features. Now, of course, you can delete these pictures if you want, but Instagram won't take them off immediately after 24 hours. Now, one thing that I need to mention is that posts are a lot less laid back than other platforms, meaning that a lot of people take a lot of time and energy in making sure that their photos look nice, because Instagram really is all about that, making sure that the photo looks nice. But don't be intimidated by that, because it may seem a bit difficult to like figure it all out, but once you've got it down, everything will click. So before you post, you really want to think about two things. So first, you want to think about who your target audience is and what they're most interested in online. So you want to think about age, location, political stance, gender, because all of those will help you figure out your demographic. And you have to figure out what's popular in that demographic so that you can properly reach your audience. When being an activist, it is better to cater to a broad audience because more people are going to be able to relate and support what you're saying. So for CCL, our target audience would be adults and youth. We don't really have that big of an age target. We just really want to talk to anyone who believes in science and climate change, which, you know, a lot of people believe in science and climate change, which is good. That's pretty broad. You also want to make sure that you're conveying your information well. You want to make sure that you're informational, but you're also being creative, because Instagram is also all about that creativity. So you want to make sure that you're engaging your audience in a great way. And then finally, make sure you're having fun while catering to your intended audience. Because if you're not having fun, you know, you'll want to make sure that you're having fun, because you're going to be more excited to use Instagram, and it's just going to be a lot better of an experience overall. So to create your post, you're going to go into, I don't have a screenshot of it here, so I apologize for that. But you see this little plus sign in the middle? That's where you would click to go and create your post. So over here, you can go and choose a photo to post or multiple. Now here, you can have your library. You can take a photo or you can take a video. I strongly suggest for you to just take one from your photo library. So this little thing here with all of the tiny photos, that's your library. And for this example, I just decided to choose an ad for another workshop because it's something CCL related that I happen to have on my phone. So I just chose this photo, and then you want to make sure that you have multiple informational slides. I didn't for this example just because I wanted it to be quick, but if you are going to be posting information, you want to make sure that you have multiple slides. So there's an option over here, this little dot, where you can choose, I believe it's up to 10 photos. So maybe don't do 10 because 10's the limit. Maybe do 2, 3, maybe 4 photos so that you can have a lot of info, which is really great, while still keeping it clean and nice and looking good. So you want to edit your photos. So here we have filters, or you can edit your lighting, the colors. So if you took a photo with your phone, you may want to fix up a bit of the lighting, or maybe you want to add a bit of a filter, and you can change how much lighting, how much of the filter you want to use. It's definitely not necessary for anything else though. For this example, I didn't use any filter. I didn't change the lighting at all because it was all figured out before I saved it to my camera roll. But if you haven't edited your photo yet, you want to make sure that you go through that step just in case anything's missing, or in case anything needs to look maybe a bit brighter, a bit darker, etc. And then finally, you can create a caption, use hashtags, and post. So create a simple caption that's probably short and sweet that includes any information that you need to dive deeper into. Now, you also want to use hashtags, which we are about to get into once we answer a couple of questions. So, where's my laser pointer? I like this, it's cool. But yeah, you just type in a caption here. You can use hashtags. I think someone asked earlier at the very beginning, I'm not sure, how you post to other accounts. This is how. So, excuse me. So below the writing a caption, below adding location, you can choose to post to other accounts. Yes, these are the other accounts that I own, but if you click on that toggle, it'll automatically post not only to the account that you're on, but to other accounts as well, and you don't need to change anything. You can also post to Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr. I wouldn't recommend doing that just because I don't have any experience and I don't know how reliable it is. But these can definitely be useful if you want to post the same thing to multiple accounts. Instead of having to go each time typing the caption or copying and pasting, you can just click a toggle. I've never used it before, so if it's very glitchy, I'm sorry about that, but I believe it can be useful. I've never found a good reason, but there are probably some reasons out there if Instagram added it in. So if there are any more questions, we should probably take them.
Anyone have questions for Yasmin?
So do you think, Yasmin, there, like if we have some upcoming event, like we had Earth Day or something like that, is there some way we can use it to try and get new people to join our chapter by promoting it on here? Do you think that's how you're going to use it, or?
Yeah, you can definitely use current events that are going on right now to help engage your followers. We're going to get into that later when we talk about using hashtags and talking about strategies. But yeah, if you want to maybe just post about things that have happened over the past, I believe it was 50 years of Earth Days. I'm not really sure. I should have probably looked that up. But yeah, if you want to post maybe an activity like, how do you celebrate Earth Day? Share with us and we'll repost or something. You can definitely do that. You can really post whatever you want as long as you make sure that it looks nice and that you're not going to trigger any controversy. But most people like Earth Day, and most people support, fixing up climate change. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. But yeah, posts should probably be used to promote stuff. You can pay for ads. I don't recommend doing that. Just because, this is a lobbying group. And also, I don't know how successful ads are on Instagram. So I would be wary of that. But we are going to talk more about strategies and hashtags and engagement later on. So that may help you. Are there any other questions?
Carla was asking about the stories again. So she says after clicking the home page, pressing the camera in the top left, and then what happens next? We can send you, Carla. We can send you the slides after. I think it's Instagram walks you through what to do next, right? Yasmin, is that basically?
Yeah,
kind of-
it should. That's what happened when I first created my account. I don't know if they changed that or not. If you're still having trouble, even with the slides, I guess I could search it up for you afterwards. But yeah, let me just use my phone to make sure that this is all working, right? Yeah, if you click on this little thing, which I assume you're clicking on, it will take you to that. You can also click on your own profile picture. If you don't have any stories already, you can click on that. And that'll also take you to that. Or you can swipe this way, you know?
Right. I think that
Yeah.
covers it. Thanks, Carla, and thanks, Yasmin. So I think we can move to the next segment.
Okay, that's great.
Thanks.
I haven't used Google Slides in a long time because I haven't been in school in a while, so this is all very cool. So we're gonna figure out how to use hashtags. You know, it may seem simple, but there are actually quite a few strategies that you wanna look out for. So when we look at hashtags, first we gotta figure out what they are. So hashtags are basically, well, the hashtag symbol and then a word. They're tags included in your captions or comments of posts that are used to reach possible followers. Each one is a gateway to a new audience. So when you want to use them, definitely, if you're posting anything that's public, you really want to use them, but you also want to use them wisely because they really can be counterproductive otherwise. So to figure out where the hashtags are, you first go to your Explore page. It's at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it or not right now, but it's at the bottom. It's in the red. And it's the one with the little, I forgot what it's called, but yeah, it's the Explore
Like a
page.
magnifying glass.
A magnifying glass. Wow, I should probably go back to school soon. But yes, you click on the magnifying glass. And then you can go to your search bar. And then you can type whatever you want. And then to search up tags specifically, you want to go to tags. It's pretty straightforward, but you can see that if you scroll down, there are a lot of hashtags that you can choose. And then when you click on any hashtag, like for instance, hashtag climate change, it'll take you to a page like this that'll basically show you how many posts there are. You can follow a hashtag, which I don't know if I would recommend that because it's not that great if you follow a hashtag, but you do you. And then you can see the most popular posts from that hashtag or the most recent ones. And then also some related ones like hashtag climate action, for example. So something that's very important to remember is to not use flooded hashtags. These are basically hashtags that are used way too frequently. Some examples are hashtag climate or hashtag climate change. So any hashtags that have close to or above 1 million posts probably aren't great for exposure because, you know, at first you might think, well, a lot of people use these hashtags. It must mean that I'm reaching a lot of people. And you're right, a lot of people use these hashtags, but many posts get uploaded to these hashtags every minute. So you'll definitely reach fewer people than if you used a hashtag that didn't have as many posts per minute, because you will get bombarded by other posts very quickly. Instagram also shadow bans accounts that they think are robots. So shadow ban means that you won't really get as much engagement. You won't ever show up on anyone's home or explore page. It's really bad for accounts. So you'll be less likely to be shadow banned if you use more specific hashtags. So when using your hashtags, first you want to be specific. People tend to search for specific hashtags instead of broad ones for content, because often when we search for hashtags, we're searching maybe for things related to CCL, for example, for Citizens Climate Lobby. We're just looking for something that's pretty specific, because if we look for something too broad, we're less likely to find what we want. So you want to also use more than one, but you don't want to overdo the hashtags. You can put up to 30 per post, but you probably should be using maybe 5 to 15 depending on what you're doing. Each hashtag can reach more people, and you do want a diverse set, but you can't put too many because it will become counterproductive. Hashtags, allow more people to see your content without following you or without discovering you on the Explore page. But using too many hashtags can make you seem like a robot, and that can get you flagged by Instagram. In addition to that, there are some extremely popular hashtags. These are things like hashtag dog lovers or hashtag art or stuff that have actually been flagged by Instagram. So if you use these hashtags a lot that are super broad and super full of content, then you might actually get shadow banned, which is, again, not good. I have been shadow banned before on my art page. I'm pretty sure I'm shadow banned right now, and it drops your engagement down by like half at least. So by all costs, avoid it. Even if that means, avoiding it a bit too much, it's better to avoid and be super cautious than to not be cautious enough. Because shadow banning, I believe, can last up to like 2 weeks or something. And it really sucks. Trust me. So let's do an activity. Let's get some engagement in here. I'm gonna fix my light so that I can see. So instead of these 3 hashtags, we want to use these 3 hashtags. So instead of climate change, hashtag climate change is real, instead of hashtag lobby, etc. So can anyone tell me why we might not want to use hashtag climate change, which has 4 million posts, but instead hashtag climate change is real, which has a lot less posts? I don't know, anyone can pipe up if you want.
I guess the one with 500,000 posts will stay on people's screen for 8 times as long. Otherwise,
Yeah. So yeah, this is way too flooded. It's very broad. They both mean about the same thing, but this is definitely going to stay longer on someone's page. That's really important. What about the second one? This definitely has less than 1 million followers or 1 million posts, but this one is still better. Let's figure out why.
I'll jump in. I'm guessing lobby could include a lot of different things. There are some various meanings of lobby. And Citizens Climate Lobby, of course, is very specifically us, our team.
Yes. So with hashtag lobby, it's still way too broad. Even though that there are less posts, hashtag lobby could mean virtually anything. And they could also be used when you're like hashtagging, maybe you're posting about a hotel lobby or something. So even though that Citizens Climate Lobby has less by a lot, people who are specifically searching for CCL content are really most likely going to like your post if it's anywhere on there and if it's anytime recent. because that is what they are looking for. And then the last one is basically the same thing. You know, hashtag grassroots movement may seem a bit more specific. It definitely has less posts. It only has 5.8K, but still, grassroots movement could mean anything. It could be about gun control. It could be about anything to do with lobbying or about movements. If we put grassroots climate, then we're going to get a lot of people who are interested in climate change. Now, if you use any of these, you are still going to reach people who may be interested in your content, but you're also going to be reaching a lot of people who may not be as interested in your content or may not be able to see you. So you really want to get a bang for your buck, or I guess for your hashtag, and use things that are more effective. So are there any questions on that portion?
Oh, it looks like Monica.
Hi, Yasmin. So I went, I'm trying to follow along on my phone with this, and I went to hashtag climate cartoons. And is that because I was like, I went to climate and saw the hashtags, like you said, they have thousands and thousands of they have that so that means they've been posted thousands of times, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what are some examples of some climate hashtags that aren't used as much that would be better to have as our hashtags?
So I'm just going to search up quickly hashtag climate just so that we can get a broad understanding. Obviously, these three are probably great to start with. Grassroots climate is, I believe, what CCL uses. But in addition to that, you can also use basically anything that has a low post range. So from about maybe, I'd say 800K at the most to maybe 1,000 posts at the very least. Things like hashtag climate action, if one strikes open again, if you want to do something like that. Hashtag climate emergency is good. You can really just scroll down and see whatever is a bit more specific. Hashtag climate march, hashtag climate strike online, that could be really good. Hashtag climate crisis, all of these are really good. You just want to make sure that they pertain to your content. So if you're maybe posting something informational about specific facts about the climate crisis, you may want to use hashtag climate crisis, hashtag climate justice, hashtag climate change is real, and hashtag climate action, because those are all going to persuade people to realize, oh, we need to get justice. We need to start acting now. Versus if you're doing something promotional, maybe you want to put something like a hashtag climate march or a hashtag climate strike online. Because even though you may have general topics that are about the same, for really every post that you make, the hashtags could be different depending on what you're trying to do. So yeah. I know that CCL uses some hashtags. Basically any hashtags that they use are probably pretty good. At the bottom of their captions, they have some hashtags. So those are pretty good too. So yeah, anything that the main CCL Instagram account does, you can probably use. So just make sure that it pertains specifically to what your post is about. I hope that answers it.
Thanks, Yasmin. And we have about 7 minutes left, and I would love to get your thoughts on strategy and like how do we get people to follow us and all that great stuff. I know, yeah. Okay,
we're gonna do a speed run. Maybe it won't be a speed run. We'll figure it out. But some general tips are to post often on your story and feed. You want to make sure that you're engaging with your followers. Use polls, ask questions, etc. You also want to respond to all comments that are on your post, because people are going to comment and they're going to forget about it. But if you reply to them, they're going to remember you again. And they're going to remember that you're a nice person who actually cares about their followers. And that's really good. And then you can also be a bit trendy. You know, trends often get a lot more exposure because they're more popular, which means more likes, comments, shares, and follows. A few trends are great for your account so that you can get more exposure, obviously, and more people that are in for the long run. But you also want to focus on creating your own content, unless you really like those trends and that's really what you want to do. But sometimes if you're doing too many trends, it can seem a bit much. So you just want to keep that in mind. You want to stay original. So you really need to stay active. The Instagram algorithm is incredibly favorable upon those who stay active. So I would recommend to try to post like real permanent pictures every couple of days to every week, depending on, you know, how active you want to stay, and to also use your stories regularly. I normally do it every day or every couple of days, depending on what's going on. Because remember, engagement is key. So you always want to make sure that everything is engaging, it's fun, it's cool, all of that. Make sure that when you post, though, it's of good quality. Because if you don't post as often, but they're good quality, it will always trump many low quality photos. Because people are going to recognize that you take value in what you post and that you actually try. And trying is very good on Instagram. The Instagram algorithm can be complicated, but staying active is the best way to beat it by far. You don't want to spam though, but staying active in a reasonable manner is very, very good. Trust me. You also want to make friends. Follow other accounts, comment and support them, maybe share some of their content, and participate in each other's challenges if there are any. Relationships are a great way to support other accounts, and they're also a great way for you to get exposure in the process. Plus, it can make social media even more fun because, you know, if you have a community, you have some friends online, you're always going to have people that are spicing things up. It's going to be great. I have some followers on some of my other accounts that I've ended up becoming great friends with. And it's honestly really fun. It's really great to make friends, even if they don't know you in person. If they just found you online, you can become friends. Using hashtags is a great way to get your posts seen, but if you want to grow your account even more and get your posts to become more popular, again, engagement, bottom line. And making friends is a great way to get more engagement. Because if you make friends with similar content and you guys share each other's stuff, you guys engage with each other regularly, then you might begin to share followers. That means more followers for them, but also more followers for you. Because it's not really a competition, you know. Followers aren't, you know, that big of a deal, but if you want to get more, it's not a competition. It's also a great way to access a new audience. Now we're going to get into something really, really sad, shadow banning. I've been shadow banned. It's sad. It's really sad. So don't get shadow banned. So shadow banning, as I explained a bit earlier, it's a tactic that Instagram uses to hide accounts that they think are bots. So, you know, anything that has any engagement other than hashtags, so maybe you won't get your post into the top portion of the hashtag anymore, or it won't be shown on your home screen as much, or it won't be shown at all on the Explore page. Now, these are generally pretty good for the Instagram community against robots, because robots are bad, but this can often harm creators. I'm pretty sure almost every account that is active has gotten shadow banned at least once, and often this can be because you are active a bit too much, or you use overly popular hashtags that have been flagged. So don't use overly popular hashtags. Some have been flagged, meaning that if you use those hashtags, especially if you use them regularly, Instagram could think that you're a bot, which is bad. You also don't want to spam your posts in stories, so don't post more than one a day. And don't put too many stories. There isn't really a set rule for this. None of the equations are out for the Instagram algorithm, but just keep it to a reasonable amount, maybe 10 at the most, depending on what you're doing. And definitely don't do it continuously. If you put a lot of stories, like if you post a lot for your stories one day, that's fine. But if you do it continuously, that could be bad. You also don't want to like, comment, follow, and unfollow too much, especially per hour. Now, I was researching this the other day because I think I got shadow banned again. But you generally don't want to follow and unfollow more than 60 times per hour, which is a good rule for commenting and liking as well. Which is probably why I got shadow banned, because sometimes I won't go on for days at a time, which is not great. And then I'll be commenting on all of my friends' posts because they all posted and I like everyone's art and stuff. But you probably shouldn't be liking and commenting more than 60 times per hour as well. Because this rule isn't strict, but it's a good idea to keep in mind because no one really knows how the Instagram algorithm works. But through trial and error, a lot of creators have figured out that you just want to keep it plain and simple and try not to overdo it with whatever you do. Because you can get shadow banned, I believe. Most people get shadow banned for like 2 weeks at a time, maybe more, maybe less. Again, nothing has been released on this, but shadow banning does really hurt your engagement. So don't let it happen, please, please. So that's it. That's the entire thing. We're done. Exactly on time.
Yes, you finished exactly on time. Well, thank you so much, everyone. If anyone needs to sign off right now, you are welcome to. Would you be free to stay for another like 5 to 10 minutes, Yasmin, to answer any lingering questions?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, awesome. So if anyone needs to sign off, thank you very much for joining. And if you'd like to stay on for another 5 to 10 minutes, we'd love to take your questions.
Yeah, I need to go. Goodbye to everybody. Hi, Natalie.
Bye. Bye.
Better get off, but I want to thank you. This has been so great, Jasmine. Thank you. I've learned a lot.
Problem. Yeah, it was really fun to make, so. Okay.
Any questions? So
I'm looking at the chat right now. I figured out how to access it. And Joanna asked, were you shadow banned on your personal accounts or your CCL account? Now, we just made the CCL account, so there really hasn't been a chance, and I've been a lot more cautious on the CCL account because honestly, I'm a lot more laid back on my other accounts. I was shadow banned on my art account, probably because, yeah, I end up going to all my friends' pages and I like a lot of their stuff and I comment a lot because I want to be really nice, you know, when they're my friends, obviously. But the Instagram algorithm doesn't care if you're friends, you know? So I don't know for sure what got me shadow banned, but I'm pretty sure it's that. It's kind of a mystery, but if you stay cautious on an account that you actually care about, you know, you will probably be safe. Thankfully, you know, I'm fine if my art account gets shadow banned because it will eventually get unshadow banned, but it's still kind of annoying, you know. And yeah, this will be able to review again. I think it's being recorded.
yes. Oh, I have a question. How do you share other people's content?
Geez, I don't think I have maybe I have a screenshot that includes something about that. But, uh-oh. So, let's just figure it out. So, when we go here, yes, I found one. I don't know if you can see the Zoom group chat on my screen, but here we have the home screen. And so here we have a post from Citizens Climate. And so you'll see that there's a heart where you can double tap and like it. It's comment section. There's an airplane section. And then here's where you're safe. So the airplane section, if you click on it, then you can either choose to show it on your story, or you can send it someone privately or to a group chat via DMs. So it's that
Okay.
little airplane thing.
Okay,
use
that's
it a lot.
awesome.
Yeah. I don't think there are any other questions.
Any other questions for Yasmin?
And if you end up getting a question like after this ends, the internet is very helpful. So I recommend using google.com or Yahoo if you're into that. Any search engine, honestly. It's fine.
And Natalie, I know you're a very active Instagram user. Do you have any special tips or things you've learned along the way?
Not that I'm thinking right off the top of my head. I think Yasmin did a really good job of talking about how to gain followers and stuff like that, and using hashtags. I use the hashtags that she's been recommending quite frequently. Although I will say I didn't know about using some of the bigger ones and getting shadow banned, because I think I'm shadow banned right now too. So it does happen kind of frequently, but I wouldn't worry about it as much if you follow what Yasmin said about that. So.
Okay, great. I had never heard of the shadow banning issue, or that seems to be a unique thing on Instagram.
Yeah. It's not very fun, but honestly, if you're more cautious, like, on a CCL account, for example, you would be a lot more cautious. You're probably going to be fine. But if you're doing something like a business account, or for instance, an art account, shadow banning will probably happen more frequently because you are going to be super active on those accounts. So it can be very disappointing and discouraging, but if you do get shadow banned, just push through it, honestly. That's all I can say. You just have to wait and wait. And then eventually you will get unshadow banned and the cycle will continue. Or maybe not. Hopefully it won't. But it might.
Now, when you like a post that someone else has posted, does that mean that it will kind of appear on other people's feeds who like follow you, or what happens when somebody likes your post or you like someone else's post? Does that mean it will get sort of spread around more?
Yeah. So the more comments, likes, and shares that a post gets, the algorithm is going to recognize, hey, that post, a lot of people like it, and then they're going to end up sharing it around more because more people like it. So yeah, if you like, then you're helping out the person who created the post so that the post can be shared with other people who may like it too. That's why you want to make sure that everything's pretty and nice and engaging so that it can get shared around and so that the algorithm can do you a favor.